Welcome into the Soccer O.G. I say that at the beginning here so I could remind you to please hit that button and subscribe to this wonderful channel so I can continue to do these videos and show off my incredible fashion sense. We are still simmering at the disappointment of the United States not qualifying for the Olympics. Was it embarrassing? Yes. Should U.S. soccer be held accountable? Yes. Should heads roll there? I don't know. But I'd like to see a lot of changes at U.S. soccer. We know it changes very slowly, if that at all. And I would like to have in that conversation to get people opportunities, etc. But we don't have enough time for that. And quite frankly, it would bore you to tears. So I figured let's have some fun. And a reminder that what happened in Guadalajara with the Olympic team is not a referendum on the state of American soccer. If you look closely, we have something really good going. So I put together a list of the best players from CONCACAF, a top 10 list. Now, I was going to do USA and Mexico players to make a point, but I figured branch it out to our entire federation. But what you will see either way, and I was very fair. I did it. I rated American players a little bit lower in many cases than they should be, but you will see U.S. soccer, not by a lot, has the best talent in the region. I will say this for your guide. This is based on age, market value, transfer fees, etc. Stats, obviously, what they're doing, how much they're playing is probably a bigger indicator. And also the clubs they're playing for, because that matters. Because if Real Madrid or Manchester United or Barcelona want you, that means you're up on the list because that's rarefied air. So let's get into it. You'll see some fine lines here. I actually did 11 through 20 as well, so you can get an idea of my thought process. Number 20 was, this is overall players, how I rate them. Number 20, Luis Romo, Mexico. I like him a lot. Back of the midfield. Number 19, Josh Sargent. He's 21, American striker, coming into his own, playing every day in Germany. Number 18, Brendan Aronson. I ranked him very low here. He could be higher. His market evaluation is very high, and he is what? He's just 19, 20 years of age, so yeah, he's still a baby. 17, Hector Herrera, midfielder. He's 30, he's a little bit older, but he plays at Atletico Madrid and such an important player for Mexico, so he still makes the list. We go from JJ Macias. We go from HH to JJ Macias. Macias, young striker, plays in Mexico. High ceiling, and they need him for El Tri. They need him to be a good player. Number 15, Diego Lainez, Mexico. Number 14, Edson Alvarez, Mexico. Number 13, Yunus Musa, United States. Very low for an 18-year-old playing in Mexico. 13. 12, John Brooks, American defender, highly regarded. You don't get center backs on the cheap. And number 11, Keylor Navas. He should be higher, but he's 34, and you're not going to start a team around him. So let us get into the top 20 or the top 10 here. By the way, I also had Tim Weah there on the 11 through 20. I think I missed him there. So Tim Weah also in the mix. So here goes. Number 10 is Tyler Adams. Adams is 22 years of age. He is valued around $20 million. Now becoming an everyday player for Leipzig, who could be the German champs at the end of the season. We shall see. Really important for what U.S. soccer does. Great value at number 10, if you ask me. Number 9, Raul Jimenez. Now, his market value is much higher than a number 9 player, but he's getting up there at 29. He's also coming off a gnarly injury, which he may never recover from. A massive head trauma, and I hope for the best. He should be the best striker on this list, but I have to have him at number 9 because of those two factors, mainly the injury. It's a fun list already, huh? You see where we're going. Number 8, Weston McKennie. Weston, who is becoming a guy you lock into the starting 11 for Juventus, although he's been hot and cold with some of the current call-ups for Andrea Pirlo. He's an important player. He does whatever they ask of him. He's 22, and they just bought him for about $20 million. So you know where his value is, and this is a guy that Juventus wanted. If Juventus wants you, that means you are highly regarded, right? Right. That's why I brought the clubs in here. The clubs make a big factor in this. Number 7 is Tecatito Corona. Okay. Give me a second. Stop. Back up. All right. Tecatito a little bit older. Love what he's doing for Porto. Into the quarterfinals of the Champions League. He might go on a further run. He does what very few can do as a dribbler and attacking defenses. I am a huge Tecatito Corona fan. But it's a case of guys that are just better. And his stats in league play, he was great last year. His stats this year are okay. Maybe he's come off a little bit from how dominant he was a year ago. Okay, we're back to it. That's number 7. Number 6, okay? This is where I drop a player who should be much higher, and it's Christian Pulisic. Injury concerns and his situation at Chelsea put him down a rung. But you remember Chelsea bought him upwards of $60 million. So there's not many players in CONCACAF worth that much. In fact, I think over 60, there are 2 that have that valuation. And I have Pulisic here at number 6. Obviously with a chance to get back up. He's not worth $60 million. If Chelsea were to sell him, they would have to take a hit on that. But not a lot. Maybe somewhere in the 50s. Listen to me talking about this money like it's monopoly. It's not. Number 5, non-American, non-Mexican, Leon Bailey, Bayer Leverkusen, played for big clubs. The Jamaican is a remarkable talent. He's 23. I think he's close to $40 million valuation. He is, we have to see, we haven't got to see him with Jamaica a lot, but Jamaica apparently planning on some big things, bringing in some English-based players with Jamaican heritage. That could see Leon Bailey skyrocket on this list. And Jamaican football, high ceiling, very excited to see what they are going to do. So we're now into the top 4. You know who number 1 is. You know. Number 4, Gio Reyna. Regular enough player at Borussia Dortmund, still a teenager, super highly regarded. The age really puts him over the top. Maybe Dortmund is not his club in the next year or 2. Maybe it is, depending on who moves out of there. But he's going to get a more featured role. As an American player, he does what very few can do. And certainly in that midfield, still looking for his position. But he is there because of his age. I like it. Number 3, Irving Lozano, Chucky. Valuation's close to $50 million. When you see him play, he always blows you away. I liked what he did with Mexico this past week. And playing for Napoli, it's a little hot and cold, but it's more hot than cold. And I get the feeling that as the season wears in, he is going to stamp himself as a featured player there for bigger and better things. So Chucky, I love me some Chucky. Irving, I like Chucky. That's the best nickname on the list. If it was a list of nicknames, Chucky Lozano is number 1. Number 2 is Serginho Dest. His valuation's not as high as the guys from 1 through 6. His age, 20, the fact he plays for Barcelona, and the last 2 weeks have suggested that he is going to be an important player for them. The fact that for the U.S. men's national team, he is going to get them out of predicament if he plays either left back or right back. That's how valuable he is, and that certainly puts him higher on the list. If you're just looking for transfer rates, he would probably be 5 or 6. But I think a fullback, just a specialist guy who can play wing back, who can get a little further up in the attack, warrants being there. Number 1 is Alphonso Davies. He's somewhere between $80 and $90 million valuation, which is incredible. The Canadian, he is still a young man. He is 20, playing for the best team in the world. I can sit here and explain it. It really requires no explanation. He is truly mercurial and a class above. And in the discussion for best fullback in the world, the interesting thing about being the best fullback is in the top 5, I think you might find Serginho Dest. He is trending in that direction. So fullbacks 1, 2, and then we get to the attacking players. But as you can see, I could do a 21 through 30, and you'd still be blown away with players like Sebastian Cordova or Nestor Araujo or Chris Richards. It's really a good time for players from our region, particularly those in the United States. Make sure to check out the Soccer OG here and also the Soccer OG podcast. We'll continue this discussion, and we'll also talk about the situation currently in Brazil. The Soccer OG podcast, where all podcasts are available.